fuck, man, leave the dog's hair alone, okay, Sonny? And just come to yoga. So, yeah, because it's been a minute because of summer and whatnot, shenanigans, because you're out there having little adventures, right? Yeah. We can kind of dive right into it. We had talked about doing a format where I would just coach you for like 4 sessions to give people an idea of who don't have access to coaching, even therapy, of what that looks like. But also it has many benefits to do this. Like, not only will it give people an opportunity to see what it looks like firsthand, but it's also going to strengthen our relationship with this podcast, because I really even, we don't have to wait and kind of set up another meeting to talk about like the purpose of the podcast, the vision of the podcast. We can do it right now with everybody and talk about the purpose and the intention and get clear on why we're sitting here talking. And so then it becomes more clear to us, and then whoever is listening can also truly grasp the deeper meaning behind this podcast.
Yep.
Especially when you and I sit down. So on the topic of the purpose of this podcast, I will convey my purpose with this podcast. It is solely to be able to talk about mental health in a way where it is empowering, uplifting, and inspirational for those listening to want to now to try to experiment with different tools and techniques on how they themselves can better their mental and emotional well-being. So that's very clear to me, but it's taken me a very long time to get clear on what my purpose is in this life. Very long time. I've had many different jobs. I've had so many different jobs. I've had like 50 different types of jobs before I became like an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. If you count the times that I was roaming around with gangsters, I had my own little gangster jobs. Then I was working in factories, being a laborer. I was a telemarketer. I've gone down so many avenues. I was an event coordinator. I'd organize festivals. I do open mics. I'm a coach, yoga teacher, mental health facilitator. But it took me a very long time, relatively to me, what I consider as a long time, to find where I'm going to dig my roots into when it comes to purpose. And at the core of it, it is mental health, but in a way to empower others. Mm-hmm. So that's what I want to be able to help you with, because now that we're partnered on this journey, to help you really discover what your purpose is with this, because I'm not sure that some of the listeners are aware of actually where you're coming from. So maybe you want to talk about like, why do you want to start the podcast? Where were you before we started this podcast? And what was kind of like the straw that broke the camel's back for you to now just want to become a full-blown entrepreneur?
Mm-hmm. I think mainly it started just before the podcast. So I'll kind of talk about that. Is it kind of started with, me wanting to transition out of the job that I was currently doing. So I was doing a lot of real estate work and working for larger companies rather than doing just kind of, residential real estate or commercial real estate, and having to do basically a corporate job, but sticking with that real estate side. And, COVID came, I had a daughter, and that kind of changes your mentality. And, it's very hard to prepare for that because you don't know what's going to happen, what kind of little things are going to change. So I just had a lot of different kind of mental things of, okay, COVID's here. I have a daughter now. I'm always at home, and I'm not doing that 9 to 5 now where I'm going to, Vancouver every single day. And then that transition comes where now that's coming back. COVID's kind of ending. They want us back in the offices almost full time. And now mentally I'm, plugged in at home, and I don't want to unplug that and go into an office and plug into there, because I've seen the stress there. I've seen kind of where, my mental health got affected. Definitely I had a mental health issue, just kind of having to go there to work and be stuck in this corporate lifestyle. And I think there's a lot of people that I've talked to that are in similar corporate jobs. And this is something that I heard back from a lot of different people. Yeah. And then, meeting with you through COVID, that's kind of when I got introduced to you and kind of your philosophies, kind of what you've been doing in the background. And in the beginning, I didn't take it so seriously because I kind of was just letting my mental health kind of degrade without kind of bringing it to the forefront. So I kind of would push it aside. And then once it started boiling up more and more, I kind of started listening to some of your stuff, some of the things. We hung out, went for hikes, and just kind of listening to you and how you were trying to break things down and how you were coaching people. That kind of stuck around with me. So it was something that stayed in the back of my head. And then finally, when I was ready to kind of, take a transition from work and my career path from this real estate side to more of like into the media side, it was, how am I going to do this? How am I mentally going to be able to let go of this? How am I going to be able to get mental clarity with all the stuff I'm suppressing? And how am I going to move it over and start something new with a good mindset and not be stuck?
Yeah.
And I think that stuckness is something, it was just in the circle of friends I have, family, people around me. It was
Have the
just
same
common.
same routine, same
Exactly.
habits, same thoughts, same behavior.
Yeah. And that's exactly what I was kind of seeing. So I was like, I want to break out of that. And then it was, once in a while doing this thing or this thing, and it was kind of helping, but it wasn't sticking to a routine or a plan. And I think that was the biggest thing. And I think that's why I wanted to start a podcast that we could talk about not only my mental health, but showcase how mental health kind of affects everybody, eventually bring people on. But I wanted to start with just me and you and how you could work with me and people be able to see that, there's somebody coming from the mental health field and somebody that's just learning about it and wants to kind of dive deep into that because we've seen what mental health has become now. In the past, people didn't talk about it. It was suppressed. Our parents never brought up anything related to mental health. It was just, stop crying and move on. That was kind of how we were taught. So I think it was just now me wanting to learn more and dive deeper into that and actually explore things that people might be going through that they can kind of see from this podcast.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what I want to bring to the forefront. And that's why when you brought this idea of doing this 4-part series, it kind of it got me excited, now we're actually going to dive in. Because I know there's things that we wanted to do, or you told me, come to the yoga classes, and then you get busy. Okay, I had to go on a trip here with the family or see these people. And I think I want to now actually push myself outside of my little box and feel uncomfortable. I think that's the biggest thing.
Well, it'll feel uncomfortable until it doesn't.
Yeah.
Right. And then you talk about the purpose. You said a lot of hows. So when you were transitioning from your corporate gig to kind of venturing off as an entrepreneur, doing your digital marketing, doing this podcast, also all those other ideas that you have that all of us entrepreneurs have when we are really in tune with our imagination. A lot of hows, right?
Yeah.
But the why is what helps you to move past those hows, so you don't remain in kind of a paralysis from analysis of thinking, how am I going to do this? The why is something that I've used for my fuel. It always uplifts me and helps me move forward, even if the terrain in front of me is unknown or unclear and uncharted. So the why for me is very clear, and I think I can see your why, and I see your heart, and I see your spirit as it's kind of starting to formulate this kind of idea of what Sunny should be doing now as an entrepreneur. So the why is something that it doesn't have to come overnight. It doesn't have to be an extreme, I need my why ASAP. I need to download this shit. I need it right now. I need to figure it out. The why can be something that is nurtured within you. And through a process of discovery, you can really understand what was already there.
Yeah.
Something that inspired you. You will say that, okay, you were inspired by my work in mental health, but that was already dormant within you.
Yep.
There was this willingness and this desire to want to help and give back that was dormant within you that I noticed too. We got together, what was it? It was okay, we got together, COVID shut down. What did we have? We had basketball and we had COD.
Yeah.
So we're playing Call of Duty or we're playing basketball outside. But when I was going and I was like, I gotta keep doing what I'm doing, because at that time I was doing online mental health empowerment groups. So organizing, facilitating those, but also I was like, all right, I'll take a shot at TikTok and whatnot. And then I was just for me, I just needed that other person as support, moral support to help me with that. And then you already had all the equipment and the knowledge, but you willingly came with me and we shot a TikTok outside of the hospital that I was at. Well, it's not there anymore, but I wanted to do a little TikTok on just mental health, and you were there and you right away and you recorded it for me. Inside of you, there was something dormant that I could tell. Now here we are doing this podcast. And what I see is for anybody is like for you and even for myself, it's now you know your purpose, but it's also understanding what are your skills, what can you sharpen that's already something that comes easy to you that you can utilize for your purpose without having to go into areas that maybe you're not so strong at and spend a considerable amount of time trying to hone certain areas of expertise that eventually are just going to be a waste of time when you can just lean into your strengths.
Yep.
So my strength has always been I'm good with people, communicating, connection. You're marketing, online guru wizard.
Yeah.
For me, fuck man, I don't want to go on this shit. I just don't want to. That's it. Plain and simple. Like I will maybe one day find some kind of a fondness for it.
Yeah.
But right now it ain't here. So that's why we collaborate and we grow. For me, my purpose is to collaborate with as many people as possible so that we can flip the script on what is currently happening with mental health.
Yeah.
So that people don't view it as a crisis. They look at it as an opportunity.
Yeah.
So we can start to soothe the collective nervous system of humanity. This collective psyche of humanity is in turmoil. I can say that now, but I knew this a long time ago, but I couldn't say it as openly because, it's a very broad concept that I used to have. And people are like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
The world is in turmoil. Like, it's like, no, fucking look at it now.
Yeah.
Now look at it. Yeah. All right. So we can all agree that there is a considerable amount of turmoil and turmoil that has yet to occur because a lot of what happens, especially during COVID, a lot of what has happened when everybody was forced to go inside, they were forced to deal with the demons that they didn't want to deal with. And that can have some very negative effects and outcomes for those who are just not equipped with the tools, practices, processes, communities to support and guide them on this journey they're now on of self-discovery and liberating themselves from feelings of anxiety, frustration, dark, deep depression. People that are on the brink of madness, people that are wallowing in sadness, people that are just a fragment of who they used to be or who they want to be. Mm-hmm. So for me, when I talk about purpose, it's become very clear that anybody in my life, it's not that I just want you to come to yoga class or do this coaching, is I need you to be on the same wavelength with me because this isn't some kind of a hobby for me. I am possessed by the work that I do. And there's no other way to put it because I don't have any children, but I can't even think about children. People are like, oh, when you're getting married, when you're going to have kids? I'm like, how can I do any of that when there is a world out there where people are lost? People are afraid. People have, there's two things that I see as the main contributors to the turmoil in our culture right now. Financial, look at the economy, and look at the state of our mental health as a whole, right? We have COVID, we had no access to community. Mm-hmm. We had no access to getting in touch with one another. We had to go inside. And maybe we had the social media, but I promise you, your solution to your mental well-being is not going to be through online. You'll get inspired online, but you need to connect like this, face to face with another to help you on your journey. So that's why, I think I've had some clarity and some time to really focus in on what we're doing, what I'm doing with this podcast, so I can convey that to you and whoever is listening, so they know where I'm coming from. Like, I haven't gone on a vacation this summer. Yeah. I don't have any plans. People are like planning these trips. I'm like, I'm not even planning anything. I'm like, I have to continue to go do what I'm doing. I journal before I go to bed. I read. I get a good diet. I eat whole foods. I drink lots of water. I do my yoga. I do it in the morning. I teach it. I read and I study different areas of psychology. I have my coaching practice. I am still growing my next move with mental wealth, with what I'm doing. And for me, it's like I don't really am looking at the seasons. Like, this is summer to me. This is day like 3026 of my journey with the work that I'm doing. So when I speak about this, I hope now it becomes like clear as to like, why is this guy so persistent on doing the cold plunges or coming to yoga or the journaling? It's because I've come to a point in my life where I realized that I need you to help me while I do this as well. And the more that you are conscious, meaning that the lights are on, and so the difference is like you're conscious or you're unconscious. Conscious is Sunny is living right in this moment. He's not thinking about yesterday. He's not thinking about tomorrow. We're going moment by moment. I need to have you with me moment by moment so we can build this, whatever this podcast is, so that we can amplify this message and get it to as many people as possible. You know, it's, and this isn't just because, you know, I have people that have been coming up to me since the podcast that have the same color skin as me, who are males. I don't care what color skin you have. I don't care what sex you are. I don't care what your social status is. This isn't about one culture. This is about all of humanity, one mind, right? So this is for anybody. This is, I don't care who you are, single mother, a single father. I don't care what your background is. I'm not into any of these politics. I had people talk to me about the news, this movement, that movement, doesn't faze me. There's only one movement, and that is to help restore the balance of our collective mental health state within humanity. Nothing else.
Yeah.
We're gonna spend all this time working on the environment. We're gonna spend all this time on this one group's liberties and rights. What about every single person? Where we're gonna go down this avenue. We're gonna go down this avenue. We're gonna get politically charged over here. And we're all gonna forget about one thing that we all share. We all share a mind. And it's very, very similar in how we experience pain and joy. So for me, that seems to be the only task, something that we can all get on board with. Why do you need a purpose? And everybody as an entrepreneur, why don't we all collaborate together?
Yeah.
Every single collaborator, every single entrepreneur collaborating together for one sole purpose to help restore this balance. How? Podcasts. Instead of becoming a mental health advocate and saying what's wrong with the world, how about we do something? Yeah. If you aren't interested in the work that I'm doing, I've done so many groups, like with men, with women, in person. If you don't like what I'm doing, go find somebody who's doing something and go align with them.
Yeah.
And share those resources. Don't share what you think is the problem anymore. Period. I can't, I'm going nuts, man. Yeah. It angers me. I get agitated. I'm like looking at this shit. We have another campaign over here about, oh yeah, man, let's raise some money over here. We don't need money.
Yeah.
We don't need money. I created over 50 groups in 1 month of free support with no money.
Yeah.
For men, women, children with no money.
Yeah.
We need to be resourceful. We need to use our imagination, and we need to stop looking at mental health as something that can be used to better our corporation. You can't jump on the back of mental health and say you're giving back. So look at me, I'm good, but you're selling poison.
Yeah.
No, fuck out of here. You cannot be somebody who is coming into this game. If we're going to call it a game, don't come into the mental health game if you are wounded considerably to the point that all you're doing is triggering other people's wounds. And now you have this big echo chamber of everybody talking about their wounds together, but nobody's taking action.
Yeah.
I'm done talking.
Yeah.
Literally. You can talk all you want. And yes, at one point you must talk because that is a part of the process. But we need to move. Mm-hmm. We are all getting stagnant as a culture, as a community. We are stuck. Yep. You talk about being stuck, Sonny? When you were stuck, you know how fucking that feeling is, how uncomfortable that feeling is to not be able to be who you are, and all pieces of Sonny will make up Sonny, the creative, the father, the athlete, the gamer, to not be that person all the time, that is whole, that's not searching for something because they feel like something's missing, we need to give that to everybody. We need to inspire them to find that. Otherwise, there's not going to be a community in the future that's worth living in. Otherwise, we're going to all have our own little communities and our own little colonies, and everybody's going to have their own little societies. But what about this? Everybody's like, oh, I'm going to move from Abbotsford. I'm like, this is my home.
Yeah.
I'll go down with this ship, man.
Yeah.
I'll go down with this ship trying to help restore some of this because I've been there. I've been in the psych wards. I've been in the mental asylums. Nobody knows. If you haven't been, you don't know. They don't speak about it.
Yeah.
You know, the psychiatrists, they cannot speak about it if they haven't been the ones who were the guinea pigs. I was a guinea pig. They gave me antipsychotic injections. They gave me antidepressants. They gave me all these medications. I was the guinea pig. I forgave them. Yeah. They knew not what they were doing because it was a very broken approach. Because nobody was addressing me as a human. Nobody talked to me when I was a child. I was still a child even when I was 20.
Yeah.
I didn't know what was going on, you know, and nobody educated me, but nobody connected because they themselves were not connected. Yeah. My mom went through, what was it? She's 65 now. She went through 40 years of turmoil herself. Okay, everything I went through, she went through.
Yeah.
And she went through her own dark depression. She gained so much weight. And then she finally goes to the doctor who says, you have a rheumatoid arthritis. And the doctor's like, we're going to get you this medication. She tells me and she laughs because now all she does is her yoga practice that she's religious on. And she laughs and she goes, why am I going to listen to this doctor who obviously isn't taking care of himself?
Yeah.
She's like, something in her snapped.
Yeah.
And this isn't against doctors. This is against some of you doctors.
Yep.
Some of you doctors who have lost your way.
Yep.
And not just doctors, man. Some of these holistic therapists who have lost their way. These are the thoughts I think about all the time. This is what I'm seeing when I'm looking at mental health. I'm not seeing that you, Sonny, are the problem. I'm not saying that this community is the problem. The leaders are the problem. The holistic healers and the ones who rep the pharmaceutical companies, and the gurus and the ones who are funded by the government, the spiritualists and those who follow science, the ones who are so extreme with their opinions and their beliefs that they are ignorant to the middle ground, the common ground.
Yeah.
That they don't have the answer for that individual and they must inspire them to take action on experimenting with the different tools and practices that are available to them. Those two areas have been what I've been dealing with internally, and try not to go like fucking tap into some rage because there's nothing that irritates me more in my existence than those two groups, polarized groups of individuals. These spiritualists, come on this retreat, it's the only way. Fuck the pharmaceuticals. No, fuck you. Some of these pharmaceuticals people depend on and they rely on, and it's all they know. So you can't just say that to them because what are they going to think?
Yeah.
Right? They can't just get off of it right away.
Yeah.
Fuck these people who are always prescribing pharmaceuticals, who have never prescribed anything other than that because that's all you know. So you think that's the truth, but you're not even aware of the negative effects it's having on that individual. Are you even taking notice? Fuck you. Fuck.
Yeah.
Both those parties. This common ground is us, Sonny.
Yeah.
Okay? We are the people. We are the common ground. We are the center. We are the end, the beginning for all of this process. That's why we must collaborate with as many people as possible, like-minded individuals who understand and share a similar philosophy. I will never give anybody one solution. I cannot give you a solution. I've done enough work in mental health to now realize it won't be the yoga. It won't be the pharmaceuticals. It won't be the matcha lattes. It's not going to be how much water you drink. Yeah. It's going to be your mindset and how you view it and how you approach it.
Yeah.
And what you're doing actively now to get not only back up on your feet, but start to live again and not just fucking exist. Mm-hmm. What is the point? What, are we in a detriment? Like I'm supposed to go and heal myself and now my identity becomes is I'm just wounded or I'm just going to try to heal myself. I'm fucking whole. Yeah. And so are you. And so is everybody listening. And if they're not, let's go get there. Let's become whole. Because why? What is at the end of all of this work that you want to do to heal the body, heal the mind, get in touch with your spirit again? It's so you can go and accomplish your dreams. So you can go and accomplish those dreams you had as a child, maybe even come up with something new that was a dream. But you won't be able to get to that space of creation until we do this work, until we devote ourselves, until we develop some kind of a discipline, a devotion to it. Some people don't like the word discipline. Fuck it. We'll say devotion. Devote yourself to your well-being. Discipline yourself for your well-being. Either way you look at it, do it. Because now's the time. Now we got to move. So this is why I haven't thought about vacations. This is why I'll continue my routine and continue to kind of clarify within. And this is why it's kind of hard for me to articulate this when I'm speaking to others, because I've kept it in for so long, and I always told myself, just do the work. Let the work speak for itself. And it has to a certain degree for me. But now I think I've done enough. You know, like in poker, they say if you're playing poker, and if anybody's that's listening has ever played poker, you sit down at a poker table, and you're sitting around with a lot of guys who have a lot more money than you. Their stacks are a lot higher, but you just go and you sit in the game and you start chirping at everybody. You don't have talking chips. That's what they'd say in poker. Why are you talking? You just sat down. And that's what I thought too when I started this work. Like, what am I going to talk about? I just sat down. I haven't done enough work to even have an evolve. Like, I haven't matured my opinion on all this. When I started this, I had a very immature opinion. I had a very underdeveloped outlook on what it takes to help others. And I think that's a part of everybody's journey.
Evolution.
It's the evolution of it. I started there, even though it seemed like I was doing a lot of good work. I was alienating this group of people because they maybe weren't into the holistic way of living. And then because I was dealing with my own wounds and my own demons from what had happened to me, you know, from our medical industry, I was alienating myself from really good practitioners, really good therapists and psychologists who I've now had the pleasure of meeting and working with and also being inspired by. And it's like that growth to come here has humbled me and made me realize that I don't want to sell anybody anything. I don't want to sell you a self-help book. I don't want to sell you essential oils. I don't want to sell anything. I just want to inspire you for you to do what it takes for you to be you. That's it. And you have the recipe because you know the recipe. I can't give you the recipe. I can't give you your blueprint. And that's, I swear to you, I've looked at this so many different ways, and that's the only way, if we want as a community, I firmly believe that's the only way to do this in a way where we have long-term benefits, where it is sustainable, meaning people will try to better their mental health for a day, a week, a year. They have not adopted it as a part of their lifestyle. So they fall off. When you develop your own wellness, your own recipe, you get a zest and you get a feeling of satisfaction from trying it because it became from your own free will. You are the one. You're in charge of it. Nobody's selling you. You were empowered by a community, by somebody speaking, by a friend to try it yourself, and that is the way. But I can't be the one to sell you the way. And it is fucking lonely here, Sonny. It is fucking lonely being Malcolm in the middle. Fucking straight up. That's why I'm Malcolm in the middle. And I'm not overly agreeing over here, and I'm not overly agreeing over here, because that is not the way. It is a moderate approach. It's not an extremist approach. And it is not going to be a pacifist. We're not going to go chant Om at the top of a mountain. And we're not going to all fucking go to war with this and like, let's have a fucking big ass campaign and let's fucking just tell everybody's brains are fucked. Let's go heal everybody. It's like, they need to simmer down. They need to simmer down. Let's just meet in the middle. Let's just meet in the middle. Let's not compete and argue over different theories of what is better and what isn't, and let's just inspire people to try so they will know the truth for themselves because of their experience that they had. And this is what I am working with myself to be able to convey that in the work I'm doing today and in the future, because the longest gap I had was during COVID to go inside to really take a step back from mental health. Sometimes I'll post on mental health. I'm still working. I'm still doing the work. I just don't post about it.
Yeah.
But people, I bet you people are like, fuck, this guy just posts like every fucking 5-6 months. I'm like, yeah, but I don't stop the work.
Yeah.
Like I don't, the face-to-face, the in-person gatherings, the meetings, the phone calls, the connections, the inner work that I'm doing. And we can do this together, Sonny. Like I am at this point, like, and now that I've really, I think when I conveyed this message right now to you and whoever's listening, I have never said this out loud to anybody. And I've said it like in different pieces because it was kind of like a little string theory. Like it was just like, it was strung inside of me, and it was just like, yeah, okay, this is how I feel. But there were still parts of me that were pissed off.
Yeah.
And angry. And, you know, I don't forgive anybody. I just don't care anymore.
Yeah.
I don't need to forgive them. I don't need to forgive the pundits in India. And if you don't know what that is, it's a fortune teller in India who you go to and he tells you what's wrong with you and what's going to happen, who scares you into giving them more money. Those motherfuckers took so much money from my mom.
Yeah.
Fuck those fucking fortune tellers. And then, you know, even the psychologist who administered an antipsychotic injection to me, who made me almost commit suicide when I was over 300 pounds. He didn't fucking know what you were doing. Why did you give me that injection after a 15-minute sit down?
Yeah.
Go fuck yourself.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to forgive you, and I don't need to forgive you. Now, in my world, they don't even exist.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I pushed them away. Maybe at a certain point, like, yeah, I can say, oh, I forgive them. But if it's out of my mind, what is there to forgive?
Yeah.
It doesn't exist anymore. Like emotionally, before I couldn't say this truthfully because it still existed.
Yeah.
Now it doesn't exist because of what's overpowering those emotions, those old emotional wounds that would come up, is this desire to spread this message and this message alone.
Yeah.
That's it. And everything else, I don't care, man. I really am at this point where that's my all in. You know, if we're going to use a poker analogy, okay, I got talking chips. Now I'm going all in with this philosophy.
Yeah.
I've been working fucking my whole life to this point, and it wasn't yoga. It wasn't the nervous system healing exercises that I learned. It wasn't this book that I read. It wasn't this thing that I had to overcome. It was just I had to come to an understanding, a philosophy, a way of going about this. And that's what mental wealth is.
Yeah.
At its core.
Yeah, no, you brought up, a lot of important things that I bet, our listeners can relate to, like dealing with doctors, psychiatrists, and, just for myself, like it hit me when you talked about that, you can go to a psychiatrist and get whatever they're trying to tell you. We're just talking when we're with them, right? So that's all we're doing. We're talking and they're going to come back with some input, but we don't know how that person's living their life. So that, it's hard to relate to that psychiatrist, even though we're telling them, and you might feel good that, you're there a few times and talking it out, and you have to sometimes because you're right, you sometimes do have to talk and let things out.
Yeah.
And, I went down that route and it just kind of got repetitive that, I'm talking and this psychiatrist, like just by looking at them, I could tell that they're not living that life that I want to become. So that kind of turned me off to, just continuing that, lifestyle. And then the doctor side of it again, going to a doctor and then trying to get, help from them and looking at a doctor again. And I can just look at the doctor and tell, okay, you're overweight. I know you're not, you're telling me to change my diet or work out, but I can't believe it. And that's why I think, I got attracted to kind of your philosophy, your theory, and just kind of your lifestyle is because you were doing it. You were in it. Like that was something that kind of got me attracted and excited to want to talk to you and be like, hey, you know what? This is the person that I think could help me more than just going to a psychiatrist or a doctor where I know they're not living out what I want to get out of it in return. And it's just a clinical way. It just felt super clinical. They're constantly trying to prescribe something and constantly telling me words and things that I know they're not living by. So I got, like this, just kind of a retraction from just constantly going and trying to see these people. And then when I went with you, that's why I saw a different purpose when I met with you. It was, I think I could get to my goals now. It's because I see what he already is and I don't mind becoming that. That's something that whatever he's going to tell me that, through this, I did this to get through this, or I did this to get through that.
Yeah.
I think those are things I can relate to more. And I think that is just sometimes not a choice people have. So I'm hoping like a lot of these listeners get to understand that if you are going to a psychiatrist, it's not helping, or a doctor, it's not helping, you're on medication, not helping.
Or a yoga therapist,
or whatever it is. Sometimes, somebody's leading you just a totally different way, and they might not be living it, and you can see through that there are other options, that you just got to sometimes look around and find those types of people and look for somebody that is living the life you want to live. Don't look for somebody that, somebody told you, hey, this is somebody you should just go see, just because that's who they want to, live by. Well, find someone.
So I was a general sales manager, and then before my coaching practice veered off into the mental health world, I was a sales coach for entrepreneurs and small businesses. So I did that, and I'd work with them quite a bit on sales, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of the time, what happens is people are getting sold on what to do. And what's the number one way in which people purchase an idea, a product, or try something? It's by referral. Because it worked for you, you're going to refer somebody else. But that person is going off your referral, completely blind to who they're meeting, without being able to stand on any, on an even ground with that person that they're talking to, in a sense that they're not able to articulate and ask questions to discern whether or not working with that person is going to be for their benefit.
Yeah.
They're blindly going into that. That's what we need to stop.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Whether you're going to see a psychiatrist, and whoever you saw, it's not the psychiatrists, and it's not the yoga teachers, or the meditation teachers, or the influencers. It is, you must talk to some degree.
Yep.
Go back into the past to know how you got to where you are. Yes, of course, that's a part of it. That's not the end all be all. You can't make that, 3/4 of the pie to your well-being. If it's 3/4 of the pie to your well-being, of course, you are going to almost get stuck on an endless emotional journey that is doing more damage than good. All right. Now, again, on the other side, if all you're doing is working out and going to the gym and going to yoga, and you haven't diffused internally what's going on by speaking, expressing it in some way, shape, or form, other than just a physical activity, then guess what's going to happen? Sooner or later, something's going to pop inside of you, and it's not going to be pretty. It's going to be uncomfortable, and you're going to get that stuck feeling. So it's truly about the balancing of it all, and to make sure that nothing is being put on a pedestal. Not the psychologists with all the accolades, who has sold themselves on thinking that is the only way, and not the spiritual leaders who have done all these ayahuasca trips and seen the effects and think that the only way is psychedelics. No, everything is equal. Every single thing is equal. Nothing is greater than the other, because the only way to determine its value, if you want to look at its value, is going to be done through the experiment. So people have to experiment.
Yep.
And so they're getting sold by these referrals. They're getting sold by social media messages. They're getting sold by all these studies. I don't believe in these studies. Fuck these studies. Just get to work, man.
Yep.
Like, they're getting sold by what is going to work. And it's kind of like, it's if you're taking advantage of this knowingly, you're a fucking shitty person. To be able to have somebody who is so fragile and who is so depressed, who is so anxious, who is lost in madness, who is obviously not in any way, shape, or form in control of any of their mental faculties, you're gonna what? You're gonna sell them on a solution without even trying to get to know who they are and connect with them as a human, heart to heart. Oh, go fuck yourself. Like, literally, that is what's transpiring. It's like, we can continue to inspire everyone, but I'm glad I was able to say this, because if we don't address these leaders, these self-proclaimed leaders and revolutionary minds within the mental health space, we're never going to get back to where the work should be done. We should all just, I'm hoping to connect now, and I know about, I even journaled about this last night. It's like, I just have a deep desire to just share this philosophy. If it resonates with other people, I want to connect with them, because when I started doing this work, I collaborated with so many individuals, and by no fault of their own, they just, for whatever reason, had their own cognitive biases of what they felt was right or wrong in the mental health space. And I just thought, fuck it, let's all get along. I did that when I was but that's not going to work.
No.
I can't anymore. Even when I was doing wellness festivals, I'd work with all the hippies, man, all the spiritualists. I'd work with the tarot readers, the Reiki masters, the yoga teachers. I work with everybody, but then it's just like they all have a lot of them had their own biases. But then when it came to working on mental health, everybody was like, yeah, let's do it, because in our culture, it's like somewhat like it's like some people feel like morally good about saying that they believe we should do something about mental health, or like just talking about it. They feel like a boost of good morale within them. It's like, I want to work. I want to continue to work and see if I can collaborate with others who share this passion, because that's how we're going to do this. And it doesn't have to be like the sky is falling. No, we can get to work, man.
Yeah.
And we can continue to do these groups. Like, that's why I do these mental health empowerment groups, these peer support groups done with like people, like 10 people in a group. And you go around and I facilitate it, and they can share, because the talking is a part of it.
Yeah.
But before that, we're doing some grounding exercises. We're doing a little bit of meditation, some breath work to just bring ourselves out of our heads into our bodies. And then we share with one another. And then after the sharing, then we take action, and then we look at different tools and techniques that we can try. And we keep a progress within a group setting, and then you come back into the group, and then that's what you're empowered by, is like, okay, did this work for you this week, Susan? How about you, Tom?
Yeah.
Like how did it work? And then now they have a point where they can touch base and grow within the community. That's what I believe in.
Yeah.
It's that community work where I am just kind of like right in the middle, and I'm not selling anything, but I'm giving them the buffet.
Yeah.
Right. And yeah, we'll share and express. So those kind of ways of doing things is what I feel is like, it's funny. It's like when I facilitate the groups, the group field itself, after a little while, is the one doing the work. The collective, not me. And I've, over the years, I realized how little I actually have to do except lightly facilitate and watch everybody fucking take charge.
Yeah.
It's fucking, they've inspired me so much. Like, you wouldn't believe. People who thought they were just like, because they had told themselves, I'm so anxious, I'm so depressed, I can't sleep, I've lost this person to suicide, I was going to commit suicide, I had an abortion, my father's an alcoholic, all the stories, all the horror stories. And they come in there and they diffuse that, and then they start to empower each other. Holy fuck, it gives me goosebumps every time. And every time I leave, I would do this shit for free. If I didn't need to eat and live, I literally would. And I did for years. I did it for free. People would be like, why are you fucking doing it for free? I'm like, you don't understand. Unless you're doing it, how it feels to be a part of that group. And
no, you're right. Like, I think that community and, being able to do these meetings in person they're life changing. They could change somebody's mental, kind of mindset right there on the spot. But then we have the opposite side of the spectrum where people are just scared. They're scared to come to these kind of meetings. I'm one of those kind of people.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's, I think, for our listeners and everybody listening, I think why people would, assuming wise, why people would want to listen to something like this is because they have that, kind of fear of becoming open, letting out whatever demons that are inside, and being scared that, oh my goodness, they're going to be judged by the demons that come out of there, right? That's called.
So you just narrowed it down for the vast majority of people's reasons as to why they don't go into some kind of group therapy, coaching, just even in community. People are afraid to just go to try dance lessons, because of the community aspect of it, of interacting with another human.
Yeah, literally. And I think this is why this is going to be a good medium for people to just be able to, and now you don't have to actually go and sit somewhere with people, even though if you want to, you always can. But you could just sit at home, plug some, headphones on, and just get in a Zen space and listen to this, and listen to kind of the words, listen to kind of the experiences, and then again, listen to different routes you can take and try. Because, I've talked about it, you kind of brought it up that, it's not all about just following one path. A psychiatrist said this way, or a doctor, or, a mental health guru said go this way. It's try what you can try, and see what works for you. And as a community, you'll be able to pass on that. And it's not a referral of, hey, you know what? Like, it's just a sharing
my experience.
Yeah, it's more of a sharing experience and not a referral that, hey, you have to go here or there. And I think for a listener, once they understand that also, now when you go to somebody, you're sharing your experience. You're not trying to tell that person, hey, you can only go down this one route and go do some cold plunging or this and that. You're telling them that, hey, on this podcast, I heard that there's these so many different options and that you should try all these options. And, you know, one might work for you, a few might work for you, a bunch might not. But now at least you've opened up your horizon to try different things.
Yeah, and you're not afraid to venture off into that world that seems so distant and scary, and even unattainable, because you it's kind of like the community aspect of it is huge. Here's the thing. A lot of people would advocate and they'll say, you heal within community. That's not entirely true all the time. You can heal by yourself. It's just we never had, you know, I healed by myself. You know, granted, I had my family, like nobody was talking to me. I had access to like just live at my mom's blueberry farm in her trailer. But I healed, I like was inspired, and I went on my own little internal journey, and I did it by myself. I wasn't seeing a therapist. I wasn't seeing a psychologist. I had no pharmaceuticals. I wasn't even seeing a yoga. I wasn't even following anything other than just my own free will to just try and experiment. It was fun for me.
Yeah.
So those experiences that you have within community are something that that we look to share. Look at I got a cold plunge.
Yeah.
You now got a cold plunge.
Yeah.
Okay. I drink matcha tea. Sonny drinks matcha tea.
Yeah.
Fucking whether you like it or not, you're just gonna try it.
Yeah.
You know, when we played basketball. Fuck, I wouldn't have played basketball if all you guys weren't playing basketball.
Yeah.
Fucking, it was the group that kept me going out there. I wouldn't have done it by myself.
Yeah.
Right? Fucking playing COD. I just wanted to play with you guys.
Yeah.
I just wanted to connect with my homies, go fucking play some COD. That was the fun part, was just connecting with everybody, going on this fucking like half an hour adventure every time trying to get a dub.
Yeah.
Like, we do it in a group. Yeah. We do it as a collective. But here's the thing. Some of these groups have gotten they've gotten a little bit too snobby. These groups have gotten a little bit too close-minded as to what works and what doesn't. See, the thing about my philosophy, it's very open. It's very open-ended. There's no like, this is the way and this isn't the way. My philosophy is, I don't know your way, but I'll help you find it.
Yeah. Yeah. And the community thing you just said, that, you know, sometimes community can do more harm. And I think that's, you know, very true for some people. That could be, you know, like a lesbian, a gay person that, you know, is stuck with their community of friends and family that might not be accepting. It could be, you know, Indian or whatever. And now they're going to probably have to go on a journey themselves to find ways that they can kind of find outlets of something that'll help them, because their community will do more harm if that's where they end up bringing whatever their issue is first. So you're right. Community isn't always going to be super helpful for everyone. It's sometimes you do have to find your own path, and then you will find a community that will accept you, and that will become where you're going to find, you know, your help and kind of be able to find whatever mental spirituality that you're trying to find to get through whatever issue that you might be having.
Yeah. So you're talking about spirituality. There is nothing about the spirit in mainstream mental health. Nobody addresses the spirit whatsoever. And the spirit means something different to so many people. Yeah. Some people look at it as, I'm an atheist. No, I'm Christian. I'm Muslim. I'm whatever it is. Some people are just call themselves spiritual, right? But how it is not even addressed slightly.
No.
What's put on a pedestal in modern or mainstream mental health? I won't even call it modern because it's very, very ancient. If we're talking about its level of effectiveness and helping better somebody's mental and emotional well-being, is you'll see talk therapy or you'll see pharmaceutical. You'll see talking and you'll see pills. That's it. That's what you're preaching out there, and that's what the majority of people now see and realize. See, here's the thing. A lot of people, you can't blame them for doing what they're doing. It took me going into the psych ward a few times. It took me crumbling, falling to stop fucking doing what I was doing and fucking look within to restore balance within. Fuck, if I didn't go into the psych ward, I don't know if I'd be this guy doing all this work. No, I wouldn't be. Of course not.
No.
You know, I don't blame people. You know, their aversion to not trying any of this, because for a lot of them, they are comfortable being a little uncomfortable all the time.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is, you want to live like that for the rest of your life? Do you want to live like that for the rest of your life? Knowing that you could feel more, experience more, but you just are okay with where you're at because you're just afraid to try. You don't know where to go. You don't know how to do it. So you'll stay within that little tiny bubble of yours. But it doesn't have to be that way. And going back to those groups that you see, right? They can cause more harm than good. That falls upon the leaders of the group. Their level of consciousness will determine overall what's happening within the group. See, what happens is a lot of these leaders don't realize is that they're equal to the people that they work with. Without the people, there is nobody to facilitate this work for. There's nobody to sell your book to. There's nobody to sell your medicine to. Okay, so without the group, you don't fucking even exist. And here's the thing about the leaders too, is the group must acknowledge who is facilitating, because without the somebody facilitating a group, some kind of a guide, then how will they get to where they want to be inside themselves, mentally, emotionally, spiritually? So it's 50. But then that's what you'll see is these groups is with a lot of these leaders is they become fucking, these teachers try to outshine the teachings. They try to become superstars in the mental health space. Get the fuck out of here. Go play fucking games elsewhere. This isn't a fucking, we're not playing games over here. We are humbling ourselves to this work. We're not looking to become fucking social media influencers. We're not looking to fucking sell another fucking book. We're not looking to fucking, we are fucking doing the work and making sure. I don't want people working with me for a fucking year. I want, if we can get it done in a fucking month, let's get it done in a month. Where's that ambition? Where's that energy? They need to keep that energy. That's what the people deserve. That's what I would wanted when I was back then. When I was young, that's the kind of energy I'd want. Somebody to just come to me and be like, this isn't acceptable. Okay, let's go. Let's take you there. And I'm not going to stop. I'll be with you every step of the way. Right? So the people, these leaders that have unknowingly done these groups are working, I can kind of boil it down to what I think would be, they are competitive. They're not collaborating. They're competitive. You know how competitive I've seen even in the yoga space? Yoga teachers, yoga studios, not wanting you to teach at other yoga studios, but that claim to be all about community and spirit. Fuck, it is a poison. It is a mental poison, man. And it's by no fault of their own, because they look at it, everything from like a scarcity point of view. Like, fuck, if I don't keep them here, I'm going to lose out on all this opportunity. It's like, you have fucking no idea if you just fucking open your doors and open your heart, what you could create. I only created these festivals because I had that philosophy. I never was like, I'm going to go compete with this person. How the fuck, who's thinking I'm going to go compete when I'm thinking about wellness, spirituality? That shit's fun, man. Go fucking play. Have some fun. Why? That's where you see the downfall within these groups and these communities, is because the leaders are trying to compete. And these fucks don't even realize they're competing with themselves, man.
And I think the biggest one from what you're saying there, like these leaders, to me, a big pet peeve is doctors. Because we all have to see them. Doesn't matter. Throughout your life, you're going to see a doctor. You have your GP, whatever it is, but there's going to be doctors that you're going to see. And I'm not going to say this about all doctors, but my pet peeve is on the doctors that I know that they're not living that life that they're kind of telling people. So, you know, one thing I hate is that doctors never bring up things about diet, about working out, about changing your life, like your physical lifestyle. They just talk about, hey, how about we try this medicine? We'll try it for, a month. We'll go 6 months. We'll go a year. We'll see how that progresses. And they'll see now this patient come in all the time for their checkups, and they can physically see that this person is changing. They might be gaining weight, getting too skinny. Now they're tired all the time, and they'll continuously keep prescribing that medicine, but not come in and say, hey, you need to maybe change your diet or add some more vitamins to yourself, or, go start working out just once a week, twice a week, whatever it is. And that's a big pet peeve for me, because they're a leader in our lives that are always going to be there. And it sucks having those types of leaders that aren't living a lifestyle which they can preach. They're just doing what, in their field, how you said, there's competitiveness. You're just trying to stay in that field and be like, I'm a good doctor. I just want 5-star ratings, and I'm not going to go outside the box. And everybody's like, hey, look at this one doctor that's saying, no, you don't need these pills. screw the pills. You need to change your lifestyle, your diet lifestyle, your physical lifestyle, your mental lifestyle. You have to change that.
Yeah.
And I think that's kind of my big pet peeves on leaders is the doctors right now. And I've seen that a lot. A lot of the podcasts I listen to, there's just a lot of talk about what doctors are trying to prescribe and then what doctors should be kind of claiming.
It's 50-50. It's equally your fault,
It is.
equally their fault.
Yeah.
Because we can't claim ignorance anymore.
Mm-hmm.
We can't just go to the doctors. Maybe when I was young, I felt like a victim. I'm like, what? And my mom felt like a victim. She didn't know any better, so she okayed the antipsychotic injection.
Yeah.
She okayed all the things that they were doing. Like, it was like experimenting on me. Like, oh, have you seen fucking Guardians of the Galaxy?
Yeah.
You know, fucking the raccoon?
Yeah.
That was me.
Yeah.
I was me in the fucking psych ward. I was the raccoon, man. Getting experimented on. That was my identity for so long. But now, knowing what I know now is I'm not going to go to them as a victim. I'm going to them as an equal. I will consult with you. Whenever you go to anybody, who fucking cares how many social media, how many followers they got or how many fucking degrees they have? I don't give a fuck how well they fucking craft their pitch about what's going to work. You go in there and you hold your ground and you interview them.
Yeah.
There's no other way. You have to interview them.
Yeah.
And you have to slow the process down. And you have to make time for it. Don't tell me there's no time. There's nothing more important than this. So you go in there and you interview them. You ask them questions. Google it. It's fucking there. Ask them. Ask Google, what questions should I ask psychiatrists? What should I ask a yoga teacher? What should I ask a life coach? Ask these questions. Fucking empower yourself. Go and see this professional. Then interview them. Then decide, do you want to work with this person?
Yep.
If not, then go and find somebody, do the legwork to find them. So now it's 50-50 because on the other end, those professionals, some of them are outdated with their view on healing. Some of them are overworked, exhausted, and stuck in this perpetual loop of needing the work to maintain their lifestyle. So they need the money, so it's not that they don't want to take the work off, even though that they're not in the prime condition, they're not on the top of their game to be the ones doing this work. But there's so many different reasons as to why they could not be performing at the best that they could be. So that's where the onus falls upon us.
Yeah.
So you got to just interview everyone.
That's a big one. Like, I didn't even kind of think of that until you said it, that people don't ask questions.
No, nobody asks.
I've never gone to a doctor, like if I've taken, a grandparent or my daughter or anything, we don't question them back. We just kind of hear something. We're like, that's it. That's got to be the way. That's the answer.
Fucking there you go.
Yeah, there you go. We'll go back and we'll do what you did, but we don't ask a question of, hey, just a little question. Just why? Why would I go down that route? And then you want some kind of explanation. And if it's something that sits well with you, you can follow along. And if it doesn't sit well with you, you're right. Go and find until you're happy with what you want to hear and what you're trying to what solution you're looking for.
Yeah, and it's going to be new, right? Because people aren't used to doing that. You go to a doctor and you just kind of submit. You go to fuck, man. You know how people are so scared when they come into yoga class for the first time? They don't know what's going on. They're like, I'm going to step on this person's mat. I fucking see stumbling over people. They're like, what the fuck, man, do I even do? Because people are afraid to ask because they're afraid of what people will think of them.
Yeah.
Really, it boils down to that much. And sometimes they're, even when you're talking to a doctor sometimes, and on the flip side, it's like, some of them get offended you even ask a question.
Yeah.
They don't understand the 50-50. They don't understand the relationship. There is no 50-50 if you are afraid to talk to your doctor, if you don't have an open dialogue with that doctor. I've had the privilege of having one really good doctor in my life who was in Alberta. And we actually had active dialogue. Like, we would talk. He would say, we could do this or we could do that. What do you want? He fucking would he would also facilitate the process of me making the choice myself.
Yeah.
And I respect that. I appreciate that, because then that is kind of like a skill that you develop. So it's not going to happen overnight. Like, it's going to take a little practice. If your whole life you're used to just listening to somebody, fucking, you bought that thing that was going to help you lose weight because the infomercial really enticed you.
Yeah.
You took those pills because your friend was like, man, this is it. This is the ticket. Or you went on that retreat, spiritual wellness retreat, because you've heard so many rave reviews. It's like, and you went to that doctor because, oh my God, they had such a good experience with that doctor. And then until you get out of that, like, way of approaching your well-being, you are going to be stepping on like fucking what would feel like landmines and like fucking unintentionally blocking your progress from where you could be had you just looked at it all in a different light. So after talking about, fuck this side, fuck that side, I feel better. No, don't fuck this side, fuck that side. I just need to vent that. I feel way better saying that. Because if they want to get along with this philosophy, they're more than welcome to get down with this philosophy. Everybody get down with this philosophy. I'll work with anybody because nobody's too far gone in their own mind that they can't come back to common decency. I know that, man. Why would I believe anything else? Why would I want to believe the evil that people could do and just think that people are going to just be so fucked and like we're so corrupt and we're never going to get back to the good? No, we're getting back to the good. No. That's what I believe. That's what keeps me going every day. So we can connect and collaborate with all the psychologists and therapists, the leaders in all the areas and of mental health, and we can come together on this common ground that we will treat this as a 50-50. We aren't here to outshine any of the teachings. This isn't a popularity contest. This is about the work. We are in a bit of a crisis, somewhat. Like to me, it's not. I've been fucking in hell, man, so much. So when people are like, for me, it's sometimes I look at it from my experience. I'm like, yeah, no. When you come back from the brink of suicide, you're like, we're not there yet as a culture.
No.
But some people are. And some people have committed suicide. And that affects everyone. And now people are taking note at all the anxiety is becoming prevalent and what technology is doing to everybody and all the yada yada. But now let's just put our heads down, humble ourselves, put a little bit of optimism back in our outlook of how we can collectively do this as a team sport, right? If we're going to look at it like that, like as a team game, and let's just all team up and fucking get the dub together, right?
Yeah.
Right, when we're playing basketball, fucking, it doesn't win if we're not all winning.
Yeah.
Right? Can you imagine if all the mental health professionals, the influencers, and everybody just got on the same team? Because they're not all on the same team right now. No. They're some of them are in there for like self-absorbed interests. Some of them are too far gone into their own practice and their own ways to think anything else can help because, of fear of not being good at what they're doing anymore. But what if, everybody just realized, hey, it's a team sport and we just collaborated. Yeah. Fuck, I'm excited to find those people. And I know we will put a little bit of heart back into this, man.
Yeah.
Because if you ask me anything, what is it that empowers me to do all the work that I've done and will continue to do? Heart.
Yeah.
No, I'm not thinking what's wrong all the time. I see it annoys me, but I don't let it dominate my mind. It is the heart, the humanity of it all. It's when you see somebody in pain and you don't see it in their body, you see it in their eyes.
Yeah.
When you see it in their eyes, you'll stop. You'll get off your pedestal as a professional of what you think is right or wrong, and you'll just get back to work. And you'll heal yourself, and you'll keep yourself on your A game. You'll do the things necessary to make sure that you are psychologically sound as a healer, so that you aren't unintentionally negatively affecting those that you're working with.
Yeah.
No. So this is your first unofficial, unorthodox coaching session.
Yeah.
Do you now know why I think I finally conveyed to you, Sonny, and I can tell by the look in your eyes. You're like, I fucking understand this dude.
Yeah. No, I totally do. And while you were saying that, I was just thinking of like this last month of, us not doing the podcast, getting busy, me traveling and just running. And
you getting busy.
Yeah. Me getting busy and just kind of running into a lot of different people and then them bringing up the podcast and, you know, saying, oh, it's awesome that you've started the podcast and, you know, it's really good. You know, I've listened to a few of the episodes, few I have saved to listen to. And I just wanted to like ask everybody that I met, just like, what did you like about it? Like, that's the only question I wanted to ask. And then everybody had a different answer, like mostly a different answer. Everybody kind of nitpicked one item and how you said, you know, you could see it in their eyes. So it was obviously something they connected with, and it was just looking into their eyes that I'm like, okay, obviously whatever their episode they kind of talked about or whatever kind of topic they talked about, it must have connected with them because you could see in their eyes like why they brought it up and what kind of like level they're at. And it was just awesome to hear that too, because you know, we are just doing this for a purpose of bringing this you know, to the forefront. And a lot of when I asked them, mostly kind of the response was that I've never been able to, you know, open up, that I've never been able to publicly say kind of some of the things you're saying. Those are things that I have deep down inside myself, but it's just, who am I going to talk to about those? And how do I know if I bring that up to somebody, what kind of result I'm going to get or answer I'm going to get? So it's awesome listening to you guys and seeing that there's all the different paths. I'm not just stuck on whatever way that I thought of. It's that good that, I actually listened to this podcast or this episode and you guys said something that just clicked with me. Yeah. That was awesome to hear. And I'm like, thinking in my head, that's cool because we listen to our podcast back sometimes and we're like, well, what the hell did we just say?
So I listen, look at me, I'm like, fuck that guy.
Yeah, say it straight up.
I'm like, look at me, I'm like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm like, I didn't get it out of my head how I wanted to say it. Because literally everything I've been trying to say, I said right now. Everything
in the moment.
No, literally this podcast, this episode right now, everything I've been wanting to say, I was able to say it fucking front to finish.
Yeah.
Literally. That's all I wanted to say to just get my baseline for this fucking podcast. That's my baseline. Yeah. That's my philosophy. That's why the fuck I'm here.
Yeah.
Boom. Done. I was trying to bits and pieces in all the other podcasts. Maybe I sounded a little bit too angry over here, a little bit too passive over here. But here, boom, that's me. That's why I'm here. So that's, I feel good about that, being able to convey that to you, because now that you know that, I think that you're going to understand me better. And the more that you kind of do this work on yourself and, you know, not just the cold plunges, but like you just start to want to really dive back into it for yourself. I just know that the more that you do that for yourself, the better our harmony will be, and when we connect, so that harmony that we have with each other is going to be conveyed through the audience. They're going to feel that.
Yeah.
So that's why, you know, when we get clear on the why as to why we're doing this together, then you are able to know why I'm doing it, but also understand that a lot of the things maybe I'm saying is like, yeah, I vibe with that, man. Maybe I've just said it in a way where you're like, yeah, I fucking vibe with that. Well, trust me, man, I've had fucking a very long time to articulate that. It took me, I had to mine for that philosophy for so long just to come to the common ground of it. And I realized it's not even fucking mine.
Yeah.
It is like, this type of philosophy has existed if you look at all the religions and all the cultures, for the vast majority, they preach this goodness, man. They preach like helping one another, common ground, being humble. Yeah. You know, they preach it all, and that's all this is a combination or a culmination of all these different philosophies that I've been inspired by, from Taoism to Sikhism to Christianity to fucking Mr. Rogers, man.
Yeah,
fucking.
That guy was gold.
Yeah, like just like all these different philosophies put together and points of views, and it's a beautiful little melting pot of how I look at the work that I'm doing and why I do it. So it's like, if once you start to see that too, I know that, you know, people who you talk to, when they hear the podcast, they'll be like, yeah, that's awesome, you're doing a podcast, right? But when they start to want to get inspired to better their mental and emotional well-being, not just for them, but for others, because when we do it for ourselves, man, we're going to have a ripple effect on everybody else. So if we can continue to do that and inspire others, fuck it. I can be happy. I am just a person, I don't know if I feel it, I am not content.
Yeah.
I am never satisfied. I fucking am never satisfied. And I think it's gotten to a point where it's helped me quite a bit to be able to succeed in where I've succeeded. but I want to feel satisfied. I want to feel fucking like, okay, this is it, man.
Yeah.
Like I can take my foot off the gas a little bit, and I think the only way I can do that is through collaboration. So that's also like a little bit of it is for my own reasons to want to do this, because I will always be the one to put my foot on the gas and have a certain level of expectations of others that if they're not met, I'm just like, fuck this, I'll do it myself. Whereas now it's like, I really want to continue to find and collaborate with people who also have their foot on the gas, that maybe want to take their foot off the gas, and maybe we could just coast together and then not expend as much energy and be efficient about this work. And there are ways to do it that are efficient and highly effective. And I believe I found a few ways with the mental wealth groups, but also am very much interested in finding out what else is out there with a similar type of philosophy that is there for the work and for the people, so that we can bring some kind of balance. So fucking good episode.
No, and just before we kind of end this off, I actually, talking to these people that I met, I just kind of sent off messages of, like, what are questions?
You mean a little survey?
Huh?
You mean
basically a little survey of, hey, like, what are questions you'd want to ask us? Like, what are some of the important things? And I got a few back that I just want to kind of run by you, because I know a few of them were tailored towards you. So I wanted kind of answers to them, because they were good questions that they're small things, but these little small things add up, right? So I think the first one was just, they're like, ask Vick, what are the top 3 things that he does every day, no matter what?
Water. And drink like 5 liters of water minimum every day. I move. Not a day goes by I don't move. I go to the gym. I do yoga. I go for a walk. I will move. And the other thing is I will eat whole foods. So I'm not eating processed junk. 80% of it's good.
Then where are you, so for the processed food stuff, like the whole foods, where are you getting it from?
Natural food store. Save-Ons has a
organic
section. You'll notice, like, if you've ever been in a grocery store, the food that you want is in the outside perimeter.
Yeah.
If you go in the fucking middle, that's the danger zone. Don't go wandering in the middle and eating all that artificial crap. So those 3 things, actually take away the food. Okay, water, movement, sleep.
Yeah.
Those 3 things.
Yeah.
Get good sleep. Drink lots of water.
Yeah, I think sleep is a big one, because people stay out so fucking late these days.
It's a ritual. It's
so hard, yeah.
You got your fucking, everybody's on TikTok.
Yeah,
like
there's so many things.
Yeah, no, make it a ritual, go to bed, focus on your sleep, get your water, get your movement. It's just that simple. Focus on the foundations. That's it.
Okay.
Nothing out of the ordinary. Everything else is just a bonus.
And one of these is, this is somebody that I met, and they had this question that came from a deep spot, obviously. How do you go about making new friends?
Okay, so
How funny.
So for me, it was I was learned the skill. So I'll give you an example. Me and my brother grew up together. So when my mom was moving around, we moved around to so many different houses when we didn't have a lot of money. So I went to like 5, 6 different elementary schools. Same with him. It affected us both differently. I realized it was sink or swim. I had to be the first person to extend myself to gain some kind of a connection. My brother, on the other hand, became very secluded and isolated and shy. So it's understanding, like, I think first and foremost, how you grew up, right? Taking a look at, how did you make friends in the past? Of course, maybe you've made some friends and just call them connections.
Yeah.
Because it may not have been like a friend, but like you connected with somebody even for like a week, a minute, a day, whatever. And take a look at how you connect. And then from there, once you start to understand how you connect with others, then you can go to try to make friends. But really, I've gone through periods where in my deep depressions where I wasn't making any friends. And I realized that, is it time to connect with others or myself? Mm-hmm. So then maybe it's time for me to connect with me. And so then that becomes that own inner journey of going out, getting in touch with my spirit, getting out in nature, journaling, going to the gym, yoga, meditation, whatever that looks like. I was taking like singing lessons. I was trying to find I found improv groups. I just try to immerse myself out there once I started to connect with myself. And this question can actually be tied to the last one, is like, get your foundation right. Maybe take a look at your foundation, and if your foundation ain't right, maybe it's not time to connect with anybody.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of the same way too. Just from a young age, I've had like a really big family. So hanging out with older cousins, seeing their friends, and having to, you know, charm those friends of theirs so that, you know, if we're hanging out, that we're having a good time. And that kind of progressed as I got older, that now if I'm at an event or whatever, I try to extend myself first to be, you know, like a person that somebody can talk to and be likable. And I think that's the biggest thing. Like your first interaction with somebody is going to matter a lot. Like depending on the kind of mood you're in, your personality, I think the best way is just, you know, sometimes you do want to extend yourself, you know, depending on kind of the circumstance or whatever social event you're at. But it's just making sure that first interaction is a good interaction. Just be yourself and be nice to others. I think sometimes we might, and it's, you know, in our community with brown boys, it's a big thing. You'll run into some guys that just, they're mean mugging. You could tell that they're kind of blocked off. Yeah. And it's not, you know, 100% their fault. It's their community again. Some people they're around with, their circle of friends, and that.
Some people are just cactuses.
They're
just like pricks, man.
Yeah. No matter what you do.
It doesn't matter. You're not going to get angry at the cactus in the desert when you walk by it and it pricks you. You're going to be like, oh, fuck, it's a cactus. Yeah. Accept it. Just accept that some people are cactuses and they're going to prick you. Yeah. Move on to the next.
Yeah, I think that's it. And then I think this one's completely tailored to you. What was life like in Okotoks, and what the hell did you do there?
They're like, what the fuck is Okotoks? Life in Okotoks was like, felt like a unicorn. I was the only brown guy. Damn. So I was like an Indian with all the cowboys, right? And then life there, though, was great because it was a smaller community, like 30,000 people. So because it was like a new environment, I was able to kind of go into it without any kind of anything holding me back. Whereas back home, I was being held back by some of the memories of being in the psych ward, of having a lost young life as an adult. Like I didn't have that 20 to 30s. Everybody's going on fucking to Mexico, Vegas, and all these trips. I was fucking in a gang, man. Like and then I was in the hospital. So it was like, I didn't have any of that. So I got to experience that in Okotoks. So it was like my college years. And for me, it was fun because they had a lot of community events. So they had like Light Up Okotoks. I always compared it to like a Disney town where everybody was very involved and active in the community events. Yeah. Very open. It was just like an open playground for me to like, it kind of felt like school and fun, because I would say with the work that I've done there with the festivals and the open mics and mental health and my coaching, those are like my rookie years. Yeah. So like if I'm looking at the work I'm doing now, if it wasn't for Okotoks, the life out there that I was able to live, I wouldn't be where I am. So no, if anybody asks me where I'm from, like I'm literally from Okotoks, Abbotsford, and India. Yeah. Like I'm from all places, man. Yeah. I'm from Punjab, I'm from Abbotsford, and I'm from Okotoks. Those are my three places of birth, because Okotoks is where, after I was reborn, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, I went to Okotoks. That was another life. Abbotsford, another life. India, another life. Yeah. Those all three lives kind of joined together. That's who I am today.
Mm-hmm. Good answer. And then the last one, somebody asked, any updates on Syra?
Syra?
My little baby.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess this one's for me. And updates, it's, you know, a baby becoming a toddler now. So it's just trying to get used to, like looking at her now. And whenever I take a picture, I think that's the biggest thing, where I get an update to my mental self, because I see her so often. So she looks like a baby to me. Yeah. But when I take a photo and I look at this photo again, I'm like, wait, this looks like a mini adult, but what I'm looking at is a baby. So it's kind of a weird concept of seeing your kid, you know, like evolving from this tiny little baby and doing all these baby things to now forming sentences and emotions and this kind of personality that's going to be built in for life, and just being able to see that, it's just awesome. It's like one of the coolest things.
She's a little cutie, man.
Yeah, it's a fun thing. I think a lot of people get scared of being a parent and all that, and I totally understand that. That's part of life. And just once we have gotten to this level and being able to see what they're kind of becoming, it's cool to see how much they kind of pick off us.
Yeah.
That's about it. And I think that is the episode for today. That was a good one, man.
It was a good one.
Another one down.
Bye.